And we are live. Who in the where is the light fam?
I suck at the handpan.
Anybody in chat? Anyone in chat yet? Aha. Valkyrie song. How are you, my friend? Welcome. There they all come. There's the light fam. Thought I was preaching to an empty house today. What do we got? We got Rose. Hey, Rose, how are you? From the UK, I believe. AB. Oh, Annabelle. Hey, thank you for showing up, Annabelle. Appreciate you. Pamela Bay. What's up, Pamela? How are you? Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate the support. The Light Fam coming in strong. Are you guys excited for today's live stream? We got a very special guest for you guys. Can I get a hell yeah in the in the comments? Who else do we have filing in here? Mona Lisa. Welcome, Mona Lisa. How are you? Are you a masterpiece just like the painting? Stardust. There's Stardust Diamond. How are you, my friend? All right. Light Fam is saying we are here and we are strong. Annabelle says, yes, very interesting topic. All right, guys. So I'll go ahead and jump in. I know when people watch this on the replay, if you don't immediately get to the topic, they got that short attention span and click off. So I've been getting a lot of requests to make videos on the effects of being raised by a narcissistic parent. And I thought, what a better way to address this pretty common issue than to bring on a previous client who's actually going through the healing of being raised by a narcissistic father. She's in the trenches. she's putting in the work and coming to some new realizations and letting that new version of herself come onto the scene. So I'm going to bring her on. She's going to share her story. We're also going to talk about how to heal. She's going to give us some insights on also what to look out for when you're healing, and just her epiphany through the whole thing to hopefully give you guys just a deeper insight on what's happening if you were raised by a narcissistic parent, and how to kind of heal from that and get your life back on course and really get your relationships back on course, and who you choose to be in a relationship back on course. So if you guys have been with the channel for a while, you will have seen her before. Her name is Christin Underwood. She shared her twin flame healing story with you guys a few months ago. If you're new to the channel, then this is your first time meeting Christin. You are in for a treat. She is a bubble of good energy, and I think you guys are really going to like this. So let me bring in Christin here. Add to stream. That looks like the right button.
Okay.
Here she is. What's up?
Hi. How you doing, David? Hey.
That's the Lightways dance.
Oh yeah. We dance over here too. I
Right?
love that. Yeah.
Let me see. Is this where's the split screen? Oh,
Okay.
we're bigger.
I like this. Okay. I like this.
All right. So let's talk about being raised by, well, first of all, why don't you introduce yourself? Let's talk about how you're also sharing your voice out there with the world and empowering people.
Okay, well, yeah, nice to meet everybody, see everybody. I'm Christin, as David said, and I was one of his clients. And I went through my spiritual awakening, and David really coached me and helped me get to the point where I was really understanding what this journey was about. And through that, I have built a podcast that I'm really proud of, that I share my healing journey and talk about spiritual awakening. And I'm on season 4 right now. I write poetry. It's
What's the name of the
inspired.
podcast?
Oh, the elephant in the room. Sorry,
Oh,
I was
okay.
just talking. It's called the elephant in the room. You can find it on all the major platforms. And writing and poetry, and just going through my healing journey with twin flame, childhood trauma, just everything. I opened up the whole can of worms. So it's been
I
very,
remember when I first took you on as a client, I was telling you about Christin 2.0, but I think you're at
yeah,
like, I don't know what, Christin 2.5 now, or where are you in
yeah.
your journey?
We're elevating, especially right now. I'm going through definitely another leap or jump and ascension, and it's really awesome. I'm feeling very inspired more than ever right now, and
I
I'm really
love it.
happy about that. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's dig into your story. First off, what was it like being raised by a narcissistic father? I know that's a lot to unpack right there. So let's dig in.
Yeah, I think it's like in hindsight now, understanding. I mean, I didn't even realize and put two and two together that he was narcissistic until last year. So that term wasn't even something that I used in my vocabulary until last year. But um, it was confusing. It was definitely painful. Um, my dad is very manipulative, so the emotional manipulation was just very confusing. My parents got divorced when I was 2.5 years old, and my dad is like a grandiose narcissist, is what we would call, and there's
Overt.
zero over, yeah, just there's zero accountability. And so he definitely used me as his emotional punching bag at a very young age to kind of take on the burden of him and my mom's divorce at a very young age. And it was, I think that's when I stopped becoming a child, to be honest, and started handling adult issues and being my dad's just therapist essentially. And also he created a lot of smear campaigns against my mom, and so that also really affected my perception and my relationship, because he filled me with a lot of hate towards my mom, which was his hate. So it was very confusing because I was taught that my mom was bad and everything was her fault. So I started to grow a lot of resentment and detachment from her. And of course, she had her own things going on. But then my dad, he was uh, physically abandoned me, financially abused me growing up, was not in my life consistently. And so here I am really clinging to this person and putting my dad on this pedestal, and then kind of throwing my mom over to the wayside. But then as I got older, I was really confused. I'm like, wait, I feel like I'm being raised by my mom. My mom's there for me. She's taking care of these needs that I know I have. And I see my dad kind of just once in a while. And why am I so just captivated by him and just think that he's just the greatest person? Why do I want his validation? And so that was something that I struggled with for my entire life, of always trying to seek his validation. In one way, in a big way, was through like financial, like paying for things that I shouldn't have. And I know we'll get into that later, but that led into a lot of problems in my romantic relationships in adulthood. But growing up was very confusing. It was very sad. Definitely lonely and not feeling like I knew when my dad was going to be there for me, when he wasn't, when he was going to be mad, when he wasn't. It was just very unpredictable growing up.
What what inner traits do you feel was kind of birthed from that experience?
Ugh, it's actually something I was just meditating on the other day, that, like how scary it was to realize that you pick up some of these traits. But definitely had a really hard time accepting criticism myself. Anytime, if someone were to bring up one of my flaws or something that I need to work on, it would really deeply affect me. And I realized that is my dad, because anytime that I would try to hold him accountable for the way that he treated me growing up, it was a full explosion, yelling, very angry, and just shut me down. And still, literally, till this day, I have never been able to fully speak my truth to my dad. He has never been able to fully hear me or allow that in. And so, definitely not being able to take criticism, explosive, not knowing how to regulate my emotions. So, if I'm feeling abandoned or triggered in a relationship, I'm explosive too. I turn into a different person that I don't even recognize, where I used to just pace and yell and just scream and just black out essentially. Um, Manipulative, I learned how to emotionally manipulate as well to get my needs met. And so I was emotionally manipulative as well. There was a lot of things that I'm unpacking, but those are the three that stand out to me the most because they've caused the most turmoil in my relationships.
Do you feel that it kind of gave you a sense of maybe codependency?
Oh, yes. How did I forget that one?
Yeah.
David, I don't know how I forgot that one. Yes, definitely codependency and feeling responsible for other people's emotions and feelings and above my own. And it definitely he turned me into the ultimate people pleaser for sure because anytime that it was me or my needs or I wasn't feeling good and I tried to express that, it was just shut down and silence. And so then in adulthood, I learned that my needs are on the back burner. And in order to gain validation in friends and romantic partners, I need to essentially abandon myself for them. And that's what I was taught to do.
That's the programming that comes from a narcissistic parent. Your needs are irrelevant.
Yeah.
And so the ego, which we all know is in charge of survival, equates getting the approval from that narcissist to being
Mm,
accepted by the social group,
yeah.
getting food and provision, when you're growing up.
Oh,
And then
yeah,
so the ego
absolutely.
says, well, if I don't get approval, then that's a threat to survival. So does
Absolutely.
it feel like if someone, if you're not getting someone's approval or pleasing people, then you're in like
Uh,
fight or flight?
Oh yeah, rejection is really hard for me, even when it comes to friendships, romantic partner, my family. Anytime where I don't feel wanted, or if I'm perceiving it that way, or it may be true, it bothers me. I will go and ruminate it over all day. I will go to the situation. I will say, "What's wrong with me? What did I do?" I'll immediately blame myself. That's just like I used to. I need to start. I need to start speaking in past terms.
Right.
But I used to
That was
blame
Christian
myself.
1.0.
Yeah, yeah, I used to blame myself immediately and just try to figure out where I went wrong. Why are they not including me? Why am I feeling rejected? Why are they upset with me? Why are they not texting me back? All these questions, and it's exhausting. It really is. It's exhausting and it burned me out.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you feel that affected the relationships that you sought out, the romantic friendship relationships, business relationships?
Well, first of all, just speaking from romantic, because I feel like that's where it affected me the most, is I definitely was seeking out my dad and and these relationships. And so I found myself in a string of toxic relationships with all the same characteristics of like cheating, trust issues, financial abuse. I found myself paying the same way that I paid for my dad on things, just offering it up without them even asking, just being like feeling obligated, and then getting resentment, later. Not being able to regulate my emotions, and also attracting people that also had similar wounds as me. And so I found myself trauma bonding with people now in hindsight, and now that I've learned about it, to just try to get my needs met from childhood. Essentially, the same type of abuse was very familiar in the abusive relationships I was in adulthood, and I understand now that I was just trying to heal that cycle and doing it in the wrong way.
Sounds like unhealed trauma attracts unhealed trauma. Is that a
It really does. It really does. Because
one of my
yeah.
favorite things to say? And I can never really harp on trying to heal the trauma enough, because anytime that you're standing in unhealed trauma and you're initiating a relationship from a
Mhm.
disempowered state, meaning you're initiating a relationship from this sense of being incomplete or unworthy of love or whatever the trauma is, that
Yeah,
relationship is always going to be a short-term lesson for you to learn your worth. And it's going to be
absolutely.
that mirror to say, hey, you don't know your worth. You're making bad decisions here. And it's going to be painful to force you to try to do the healing.
No, absolutely. And I think I've had many mirrors in my life, but I was unwilling to really look in them until my last most significant relationship, which is the catalyst to my spiritual awakening and was the most similar to my dad that I've ever dated. So I feel like I just got as close as I could to completely just kind of shatter me. And that's what happened. It just completely shattered me and who I thought I was. And it just broke me down to a level where I had no choice but to finally look in the mirror of this and just say, okay, enough is enough. There has to be something better. This cannot be what relationships are. I'm tired. And yeah, I stopped being the victim and just became holding myself accountable on how I could change. I think we always, um, when we grow up with these parents, we are the victim. We are 100% dependent on them, as we should be. We didn't ask to be here. We should be taken care of and having our needs met. But the sad truth is that a lot of us don't, and we don't have that situation growing up where we have the perfect family. I don't know who does, and so that's your story. But now, as an adult, when we grow up, it's like it's time to rewrite that, and it's time to hold ourselves accountable on how we can fix it. And it's not taking away that what you went through is not valid, because it absolutely is, but we have to validate ourselves. And that was such a big lesson that I learned, last year with you. And I didn't get it until I got it, but it's
Yeah,
liberating.
that's one of the things about childhood. As children, before the logical mind is formed, which is typically around age 7, everything is
Hmm.
about us. Anything that happens, it's our fault. And especially if you have a narcissistic parent that's literally blaming something like a
Oh
divorce
yeah.
on you. I mean, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I mean, you
mean,
said they divorced at 2.5. So
yeah.
as
Yeah.
soon as you were kind of old enough to really kind of process things, maybe 5 or 6, he's already blaming you, right?
Yes, and I mean, and saying things like, and then anytime that I would try to question what he was saying or just have any type of opinion, he's like, you don't even know how to love. You're not capable of loving anyway. So just don't. And I'm like, and I realize now how much of that was a projection of himself, obviously, and he was projecting how he feels about himself on to me. And when you look at it through all the inner child healing that I've done, wow, it's very hurtful and painful to finally see it from that perspective on the needs and the way that you were treated. And to validate ourselves and reparent ourselves is absolutely necessary in healing these wounds with especially narcissistic parents, because they cut deep, very, very deep. And I'm still reprogramming it. It's taken me so long to realize that, like, the thoughts and the fears and the doubts and the pain that I carry is not mine. And it's taken me 35 years to like really realize that. And I'm still trying to lighten the burden every single day.
That's a great segue. So what are some of your techniques for healing?
um, so meditation, number one, is turn my
Did
life
you guys hear
around.
that in chat? Meditation?
And I have to
They
thank
get
you
tired of me
because
preaching on the meditation.
well, no, no, and I have to give you the credit where it's due. I never really had a meditation routine or meditated until I met you last year. And obviously I've taken the things that I've learned from you and kind of made them my own, but I still follow those the kind of like the format that you gave to me a year ago, and it's worked amazing. So meditation and really getting clear on how I actually feel. So no longer suppressing, getting clear on how I feel, validating that. Yes, that's absolutely right. You should feel hurt because of that happening. But then trying to take it a step further and then seeing my dad as a little child as well, and seeing what he went through, and that is just the programming that unfortunately he was not able to break out of, which makes me find the gratitude in all this that I was able to, you know? And so being able to have that compassion, gratitude, hold multiple perspectives, and validate yourself.
Yeah.
Whew, it's a lot of work. It's a mouthful, and it is. um,
What do you feel about, so my when I do research on NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, this is clearly a mental illness. So my perspective is, why would you care about someone's opinion of you who has a mental illness? You start to take that approval off of a pedestal because you realize that that approval is completely discredited because it's coming from someone that is mentally ill,
yes,
right?
no, no,
And when that kind of sinks in, it's like it's a little bit easier to let go of that approval. Do
yes,
you agree?
no. Yeah, no, absolutely. Seeing it from that perspective does make it easier because then you don't take it as personal. But I
Right.
still think, with it being a parent, it's just so muddy, and obviously it's easier said than done, and like intellectually I think everyone can conceptualize that, like, oh yeah, you're mental, but then it's just the heartstrings, and it's the connection, it's that literal cord that you have. And I know we'll talk about this and maybe we can segue, but it's the guilt as well. It's the guilt that is not mine to carry, but in making decisions, and like what you said, how have I healed? By setting a boundary, a major boundary. And that has been, it has made a huge impact on where I am right now. But it's still painful because I still am carrying the guilt of setting my own boundaries. And that's something that I'm empowering myself not to feel every single day.
So that is a good segue. What are some of the maybe traps and pitfalls that people might experience once they start to do the healing?
Well, yeah, seeing your parents as people and not your parents, and really taking those rose-colored glasses off and really getting honest in your truth on what happened to you growing up. That is extremely painful to realize, like, wow, someone, my blood, my family could do something to me like this. So that's really hard, really accepting that and seeing the truth and not running from it anymore. And then for me, the thing that I'm struggling with and still kind of struggling with is the guilt of setting those boundaries. And for me, it's a major hard boundary of really accepting that my dad is not going to change, that he does have a mental illness, and that the more that I try to engage with him and try to get him to validate me, the more I'm hurting myself. And so I've really made the conscious decision this year to really shut that door and not allow contact because it's just too painful. But with that comes kind of a premature grieving that I'm going through, as far as I know that I've made the decision that I'm choosing me, and what comes with that is that uh, yeah, the door is closed. And so the next time that I may see my dad is in the next phase of this, spiritual journey. And that's hard. That's hard.
Yeah, I always tell people that it's okay to love someone from afar.
Mhm.
So if someone is in your space and they're toxic and they are really affecting your mental health, your peace, your joy, and they're clearly emotionally manipulating and abusing you, parent or not, it's okay to send them away with love. And you do want
Yeah.
to send them away with love, because when you forgive them and release them with love, you're not holding resentment.
Yeah.
Resentment is trapped energy. Energy hates to be trapped. And when you forgive them, you send them away with love, and you just love them from a distance, and you're able to keep your peace. That energetic cord between you two is not, gunky and negative. You can, I
Mm-mm.
like to do Ho'oponopono. I'm
Yeah.
always doing Ho'oponopono. So you can clean that energetic cord and just love them from a distance. You've released
No.
them. Thank you for giving me life, but I'm good now.
No. No, absolutely, David. And I know, and I want people to know, like, I'm just trying to be, 100% transparent. The guilt, that pain, it is there. It's something you have to work through. But the happiness that I feel now, the liberation, the freedom, the confidence in myself for standing up for myself, for speaking my truth, no, it surpasses all
Priceless.
that. And yeah, every single day I'm getting stronger, and I'm having days now where there's something I do that's positive that reminds me of my dad, or music. We bond over music, and it's a big part of my life. And I thank him constantly, because I'm getting into some sound healing, and that's something that I'm navigating in. And that is something that I shared with my dad. And the fact that I can say it and with a smile and be like, thank you, I really appreciate that, while still having that boundary, that is loving him from afar. And yeah, I'm proud of myself for that. So thanks for bringing that up.
As you should be. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when that toxicity is not hogging up all the space, there's now
No.
room to appreciate the positive of that person.
Yes, yes, the resentment is killer. It's poisonous. You touched on it a few minutes ago, but yeah, the resentment that I felt, I finally got to the point where it's like, I can't live in this space anymore. Like, I don't feel creative. I don't feel like inspired. I don't feel love. I'm not open. Like, and as soon as I started just really forgiving myself and forgiving him and letting go of that and loving him from afar, all these things have been instrumental and
Yeah.
necessary. But this is self-love. This is what self-love is. It's not always just taking a bubble bath and doing things that feel good. Most of my self-love journey has been making very difficult decisions in my best interest.
Yeah. A lot of, if we think about that term self-love, a lot of the self is in the darkness. So you got to love the darkness as
Mm,
well.
and bring it to light.
That's right. You know, one
Yeah.
of the things, another thing I want to kind of make people aware of when they start to do the healing from a narcissistic parent, if you've been programmed to chase that approval your entire life, and the ego says not getting that approval is a threat to survival, as soon as you start to detach and do the healing, you're going to be hit with anxiety and panic and be in fight or flight. The ego freaks out.
Mhm.
Did you
Mhm.
experience that?
Oh, yeah, I feel like I'm still regulating. I've learned that it takes like 2 to 5 years sometimes to regulate from certain trauma. But yeah, I definitely experienced flight or fight mode for a very long time, for probably like a year of just constant like second guessing myself, like I'm doing the right thing, and then I'd be driving and just start burst out into tears and be like, "No, I'm not. Oh my God, what am I doing? This is honor thy mother and thy father," and then
All the
the
biblical stuff
bad,
comes in.
yeah, oh yeah. And I'm like, wait, I don't believe it. Like this is crazy. And then I have to. This is where the meditation is actually a practice, and it's great when you're doing it in the morning when you're nice and calm. But in the moments when you're having that, that's where the practice means so much. And you have to come back into, wait, this morning I checked in with myself and I was feeling great and I was feeling empowered and I knew what I was doing and this is right and I love myself. This is just a moment. This is just a thought. This is just the ego. It's just a thought. Let it in and let it out and go on about your day.
Right. And
Yeah.
that kind of reminds me, because a lot of people that they're facing this narcissistic abuse that they need to heal from, but they stay in wounded masculine with a overwork, overgrind, outwardly
Mm.
focused, action oriented energy. But it's that going within that will allow you to heal it. So you know, I just kind of put that out there because a lot of people will kind of distract themselves from doing the healing because they're in wounded
Oh,
masculine.
oh,
And
absolutely. And I,
things about meditation, you know, you
yeah.
go within and get centered, and then you can, it's only when you're present with your trauma are you able to heal your trauma.
Oh yeah, I operated in wounded masculine energy my whole life. I felt like definitely hyper independent. I don't need anyone. I don't trust you. You can't do it. Super controlling. That was another thing that showed up in my relationships. Very controlling because that was the only way I felt safe. Another thing, if I felt like you were going to abandon me, I'm going to abandon you first. So don't worry about it. I can detach. I don't have feelings. I don't care. Meanwhile, I'm screaming and crying inside. So yeah, it was it's been really quite a journey of healing this and healing the programming and not feeling bad for putting my feelings first and not feeling bad for going after the things that I desire and not feeling bad for believing in myself even though there was other people around me not capable of doing that. I don't have to do that. I don't have to do the same thing. I don't have to be the same person. I'm my own person and I feel like more than ever right now on the blank canvas. Finally, from the paradigm and the projections of my dad, my parents, I feel like I can just create who I am now, what I believe in. And that's amazing.
That sounds like the false self has kind of gone
I'm
away.
done. It's over. It's
The
over.
authentic Kristen's coming out.
Yeah, no, the truth set me free, and that's all I can be. I feel like I'm just like in the truth all the time now, and I'm trying to learn a balance because some people are not ready, you know, and just in my day to day life. So I'm really trying to find even a balance with that, and so with my family members as well who are also healing
Right.
from my dad.
Do you feel that you still attract narcissists, or they don't come around anymore?
No, and if I do, and if someone does feel off, I'm able to catch it right away. I'm able to see right through it. I'm able to read the love bombing, I'm able to see right through that right away, and it's not attracted to me at all anymore. It doesn't get my dopamine or oxytocin. None of that is going when you're just the love bombing and all that stuff. So, and I haven't been attracting that. Honestly, I haven't been attracting that type of person into my life. Because yeah, I respect myself now, and I feel like the energy that I'm radiating now is just like you don't have a chance. You don't
That
stand a
was
chance.
that. Yeah, that was very interesting. You said I respect myself now.
Yes.
See, it's and I always say the opposite of unhealed trauma attracts unhealed trauma. Healed trauma attracts healed people,
hmm
basically.
I've,
And
att- I've,
so
ma- I've attracted amazing soul tribe. Sorry to cut you off, but I have attracted amazing soul tribe friends. Like
exactly.
amazing,
Right.
crazy experiences.
And think about why that happened. The authentic vibe in your heart was not able to come through if it's masked under a bunch of unhealed
Mm-mm.
trauma. Your soul tribe is on the frequency of your heart frequency,
hmm
and they're not tuned to the station of your unhealed trauma,
No,
right?
no,
So it's
no.
only after you heal that trauma and the authentic self comes out, your soul vibe comes in. People that are healed. So when I say people that are healed, people that have a greater sense of wholeness and completeness, that are not trying to get something from you. They don't have this
Mm-mm.
sense of lack that they have to manipulate to get their needs met.
hmm
And
No,
this is what a lot of people don't understand. Like I'll make, empath videos and they'll say, oh, well, empaths are always destined to attract narcissists. No, it's unhealed empaths
no. It's
that attract narcissists. Super
yeah.
empaths don't attract narcissists, you know.
No, no. I'm more intuitive than I've ever. I'm more online and intuitive than I've ever been. You don't even need to talk to me. Like there's certain things that I can just feel now. I am so in tune now that I've opened my heart and connected to my heart and source and universe now. No, I don't worry about it. I don't have those same fears around like the trust and oh my gosh, am I gonna attract someone that I can't? Do I know that it's still gonna be work? Do I know that like yes, when I get into a relationship, old triggers might creep up, old patterns might try to creep up? Absolutely. But I am so equipped now. I have the toolbox full of things on how to navigate that, and I'm operating from a piece of love. I don't want to hurt my partner. I don't want to hurt the people around me anymore and do all that and put all that on them. I want to hold myself accountable and deal with my own stuff now. So I'm not worried or with anybody. I don't let people project on me anymore either. I'm very, mm-mm.
Yep.
I see it. I see it. I see it now. So I'm not worried. I'm not worried.
And this is one of the things about having a daily stillness practice like meditation. You're so in tune with your energy and what vibrates with it. As soon as something comes into your space that is not a vibrational match, you have no issues on setting those boundaries and kicking them right on out, because you don't
Yeah.
need their approval in the first place. You have an inner sense of wholeness.
No, exactly. And what's also beautiful is I call myself out now. I'm still working through my stuff just like we all are. And so even on certain friends, there may be some times where the energy and I will, you know, get triggered or act out of character. And my friend may not even say anything. And I'll go take a walk and I'll come back and I'm like, wow, I really felt, this trigger. I apologize, even though you didn't even say anything. The way that I responded to you, the way I did that, that was that wasn't the way that I want to move. And I'm sorry. And so just even that, like with what I said, not being able to take criticism from literally being able to criticize myself in a healthy way and offer an apology in the same moment without even having a conversation with the person.
Right.
Like that's the level of self-awareness and freedom that can be created and just opening yourself up to the truth and not being scared of the pain because there's so much power and knowledge in our wisdom and in our pain. It really is.
Once you kind of dig into that pain and see how unbreakable you are, you
Yeah.
did die. You get a greater sense of just how strong you are, and then there's less emotional charge around taking accountability or being wrong for something, or just being honest with yourself and calling yourself out on your own BS.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
You stop being scared of the truth because you realize the whole anxiety and all the stuff that you were trying to avoid, the feelings of whatever the issue is that you don't want to accept. Once you just accept it, it hurts, okay, but it's temporary. And then going forward, I'm running into the truth now. Give me the truth, 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 truth. What do you need to tell me? The truth? Okay, tell me the truth. I am like craving it now because I'm just so much in a space now of not wanting to be in these energies. The past is the past now, and I'm really ready to just shift into this new chapter. And I just feel at this point in my life, I'm ready to kind of like let that go. Like the little inner child Christin, she's here, she's good, she feels protected now. My shadows are in the light. Like I feel really good, and a big part of that was setting that boundary with my dad because he was one of my core wounds. And so, and I think a lot of narcissistic parental abuse is a core wound for a lot of people. I do because they're the most influential people in our life, and it's just at the
Yeah.
time.
and it has a crazy trickle effect on everything.
It really does. It really does. So,
What is your biggest advice for people that want to heal from a narcissistic parent?
man, I feel like there's so many, but I think one of my biggest recommendations or advice is, wow, to be easy on yourself, to have compassion for yourself, um, going through this journey, and to focus more on yourself when it comes to the healing. Because for me, when it started going more smoother, going smoother is when I stopped trying to get my dad and calling him all the time and just went inward and said, what can I change within me? So just focusing on what you can control and what you can change. And that's just your perspective and in your reality and how you choose to look at the situation. So the mindset, that's the biggest thing. Working on your mindset is going to be the biggest piece of advice on healing from this.
So basically, not chasing somebody and focusing inward is where you found all of your power.
Yes, it's all within, all the answers I needed, everything was within. I never needed anybody to validate me, and I never needed my dad to tell me that I was good enough so that I could go ahead and start doing these things. I never needed that.
I also worked with Twin Flame as well. So anyway,
It does.
I know we got some Twin Flamers that are watching. So
Oh, and I
take
healed
notes,
through that
guys.
too, guys. If you guys are watching, heal through that too, and you can. I know that. No, same thing goes for the twin flame as well.
Now, this is question is a little difficult. What is your advice for people that are still living with a narcissistic parent under the same roof?
Yeah, so that is very difficult, especially if they have like that financial power or something over you, which is a lot of times they try to do that to control you. Um, I would try to set the boundaries as much as you could inward, by not engaging in the emotional reactivity that they're trying to invoke on you. And I know it's very, very hard, but once you get to a point to where you can be self-aware enough to know that they are doing these things to get a reaction out of you because that emotional response from you feeds their ego,
That's
you'll
their
stop
food.
doing it. Yeah, you'll stop doing it. And it'll get easier and easier and easier. And then by doing that, you'll be able to clear more space and have more clarity on creating an action plan to get out.
Exactly. I think the more research and awareness that people do on just how narcissists manipulate, like people should
Mhm.
research blame shifting and gaslighting and
Yeah.
all of that stuff, and then you're more aware of it, and you are able to kind of you're kind of able to compartmentalize this person as a narcissist, meaning that you're not taking it personal. It's not you,
No.
it's them being a narcissist
Yeah.
and trying to manipulate, you know.
Yeah, and you'll choose your battles as well. Obviously, we talk a lot about like speaking our truth and really standing in that, but obviously if you're in someone's household and it may not be a good emotional or physical situation, you do have to choose your battles and just realize like you're dealing with someone that has an emotional intelligence of a very young person. You're not you're not arguing or dealing with somebody who's of the age that you're seeing in front of you. And so if you think about arguing with a 3-year-old, it's pointless.
Right. Yeah, they're still stuck in that frame of mind of
Yeah.
the trauma that caused the narcissistic, the mentally
Yes.
depressed in them.
Yes.
So they might be in that abandonment trauma 24/7.
Yeah, and they're committed to misunderstanding you because to
Yeah.
understand you would mean to also pretty much maybe take accountability, which is something that they're terrified of.
Well, they
So
would need
it's just
empathy to understand you.
yes. Yeah, exactly. And so that's what I'm
Narcissists
saying.
don't like
What is the
empathy.
point? They're missing all the key components of what you would need to actually feel validated.
Correct. Yeah. So it's not you.
So yeah, so create that boundary, form an action plan, and don't feed into that negativity. Don't feed into it.
Look out for the breadcrumbing, look out for the baiting, the fishing.
Yes.
Do I have any did we miss any questions before we go to our chat? Guys, get your questions ready for Kristen here. Let's see. What about people who still live with a narcissistic parent? Biggest piece of advice, techniques. What is your biggest epiphany about yourself that you had after healing from the narcissistic father? I think that's the only one we missed.
One of the biggest epiphanies, how powerful I truly am, I think, honestly, because when I tell you that like these wounds were ruling my entire life, the jobs, every aspect of my life was being ruled by this unhealed trauma. So once I really just ripped the band-aid off and dove head first and really just faced all these issues, I realized, wow, I'm a lot more powerful than I gave myself credit for. And this is getting easier. It really is. It's getting easier.
You don't even realize your worth until you focus on yourself.
I
See, the
know.
narcissist has you constantly focused on them.
Yes.
You don't even discover how freaking amazing you are until
Yeah.
you
And
yourself.
yeah. And now I feel bad for him because now he's missing out on a great opportunity to bond and have a great experience and relationship with me. And we have so many things positive in common. We really do. And, at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do, but you can move forward and you can also attract people in your life to share those experiences with that are just as meaningful. I
Right.
don't feel like I'm lacking. I feel like I'm gaining so many beautiful people in my life now that I've allowed the space and created the space.
Yep. Very
So,
nice.
yeah.
I love it. Always an
Yeah.
inspiring story.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. What questions do you guys have for Christin? Let me see here. Okay, Annabelle says, did Christin experience triangulation and smear campaigns? I felt the person, my ex-husband, was my father to revisit. Oh, I can actually put this on the screen. Oh, look at that.
Oh,
I like this new
cool. I can
software.
read it. So like experience triangulation smear. I mean, yeah, my dad, if there was any time where I was standing up for myself and going against him or anything, he would definitely call my sister or call people and just say I'm acting out and I'm crazy and your sister's this and that and everything. But we all know like that he's suffering from this. And so the people that know me and that I care about and that are in my life, they don't feed into that. They know. And then the people that do run with that, that's not my issue.
Plus the smear campaign on your mom.
Yeah, the smear campaign, all that. Like it's just when you see what they're trying to do and that they're just trying to make themselves look better and just play the perpetual victim, you're just kind of like, I'm tired of hearing these same stories. My dad has told me the same smear campaign stories about my mom for 35 years. I'm just like yawning. Like, now what?
Right.
What next? So yeah, I did experience it. I think, yeah, it's very common, but don't let it get to you.
Pamela Bay says, I had a narcissistic mother, then married one. Yeah. You seek that, you seek the approval that you didn't get in childhood in your adult relationships.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a question.
And for my twin flamers that are listening, it does work. That was the original reason why I even came to David in the first place, is to work through that. And so
Do you
you're starting
feel
with
like healing through your twin flame helped you heal through your father?
yes, and actually quite the opposite. When I finally got to the epiphany in August, actually, around my father and like that I needed to let him go, it actually made it a lot easier for me to kind of really let go of my twin flame because it was just like I realized like the reason why I was holding on to him was because of the bigger wound, which was my dad. So once I was able to really get clear on why I was holding on to this toxic relationship in the first place, it all kind of just moved out together. And so
that whole narcissistic archetype, once you heal that, that's out of your
it's like, yeah. I mean, there's definitely days and times where I think and of my twin flame and miss memories and good things. But as far as like, no, this is I have to, I'm so committed the way I was when I first met you. No. And I remember you saying that like the more I heal, the more I may not even be attracted to this version. And you're absolutely right. We don't even resonate the same anymore right now. And
You're
I'm
not
okay
that
with
version anymore.
I'm not. And I am very, 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 very grateful and thankful that I'm sitting here right here today saying that because the way that I came to you, how broken I felt, I wasn't, but how broken I felt when I came to you to heal that narcissistic abuse romantically, because it is different. than with a parent. It is. Being involved with someone romantically versus a parent is very different. So for anyone who's listening that is going through a very tough time with their twin flame, like, I hear you, I feel you. I know that it's tough, but I am proof that you can heal, and this journey, the twin flame journey especially, is about the self. So
yeah, a lot of people don't understand that once you heal the trauma that seeks validation from the twin, once that's healed, a lot of times that attraction goes away.
mm-hmm. So
And then I don't want people to comment, well, then that's not really your twin. Yeah, yes, it is. Like, stop with the
just
bubble
means
gum.
that you guys, it just means that we're on different parts of our journey, and that's it, different parts of our journey.
We do have a question here. Let me put this on the screen.
Where I question, yeah, absolutely. Question where to go if I go too far. No, absolutely. My relationships are becoming more authentic, and I'm also still kind of losing some relationships as well. The more and more I step into my truth, I actually was just journaling about this today. The more I step into my truth, the more I am starting to feel like, man, am I like just too much for people now? Am I too like blunt now? Because I don't really have a lot of the energy to kind of like tap dance around victim mode and just have hour-long conversations with people anymore.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I really don't. I don't. And so the people that are willing to go there and go to that depth with me, yeah, way more authentic. And then the people that are not there, love them from afar as well. But it's just, we're not in alignment right now. But the ones that I'm calling in,
and that's okay.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's totally okay. But the ones that I'm calling in, super in alignment.
Absolutely.
Super in alignment. Yeah, and it's very nourishing.
The more that we hone our frequency, the more we make space for what does resonate. And just because people no longer resonate with you anymore, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're cut off from them completely and you're never going to see them ever again. And it's not like that. It's just that you're on a different vibe now that is more mutually beneficial, instead of trying to ease their unhealed trauma where they are in their life.
Yes. I realize I'm in a place where I'm a coach and a healer, and by nature, I love that. That's what I do. It's my purpose. This is what I'm doing. I love to heal, but I'm also at a level where I really want to have more of that support, and people that can hold the space for me in the way that I need to as well. And so that's what I'm kind of calling in to, where I feel that give and take is a little more even. And so even those people that I may not resonate with as much, I can still be there and love them from afar. But then I also am calling in people where I can feel nourished and seen and heard in the way that I need to, at the level and the depth that I need to as well. So it's just.
Did you know that you were a coach and a healer before you started doing the healing?
No, so intuitively, I've always known something has been in me since childhood. I've always known I've been very sensitive and empathic, but it wasn't until I just sat still, got quiet, and really asked myself, what makes you happy, that I realized, no, healing, coaching, helping people through their journey, poetry, inspiring, uplifting, that's me. And
you were in the
now,
corporate world before, right?
Yeah, I was in corporate for 10 years. Yeah, I was in corporate America for 10 years. And yeah, when I left in 2018, that was kind of like the start of my journey subconsciously. I didn't even realize what I was doing, but I just knew I felt a pull to just quit. I was like, this is not for me. So the more I started listening to myself, the better my life has been.
So it sounds like the more that people heal trauma, the more they come into their life purpose and their authentic self. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what you're hearing. Yeah, the trauma is just at the forefront. It skews everything. So now that I've gotten all that off my chest, I have so much space to create and just really think about me. You don't realize how much you're just walking around thinking about everyone else but yourself. It's exhausting.
Yeah. And you can't please everybody.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Questions. Love this conversation. You guys have any questions? See a lot of statements. Do not feed them any emotion. Respond. Do not react. Yeah, that's their. I did a little short where I said you have to look at the narcissist as like an animal at the zoo, and they have a sign on the cage that says no feeding the animals.
No,
So
I
in
mean,
your mind, you have to be like, no feeding the narcs. Don't don't feed the narcs.
yeah. Well, I mean, the breakthrough that I had in August was me having a final attempt to call my father. I was sitting there, and I already knew I was at the verge of having to make this really painful decision. But I was like, there was something in me, 1%. Let's see, let me just see. So I called him, and it was the same thing as it always had been. But this time, it was just like something clicked when he yelled at me and cursed me out, and something just clicked. I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I allowing this? This doesn't feel good. Does this feel good? Do I like this? Then why am I doing this? And that's where it was like, wow, we allow and prolong our suffering by refusing to follow our hearts, even though it's painful. And
So were you in a space of just greater self-awareness when you made that call because of the healing you'd been trying to do?
yeah, I was at greater self-awareness. And the thing for me actually, and that I want to mention, it wasn't until I started actually talking about certain experiences to my friends about my dad that the epiphanies came. I realized how much I was protecting him still. I realized how much I was kind of sugarcoating and just kind of like, oh, but and so then when I really got honest and started talking to my friends about exact specific situations that had happened to me in childhood, and I didn't try to sugarcoat it, they actually validated and mirrored back like, what the heck? That is crazy. I would not. And then from that, I was like, that is crazy. And that empowerment in your truth and speaking your truth to people that you feel safe with was huge in me healing, because they actually gave me the validation, even though I wasn't even asking for it, that this was not okay, and that my decision to want to close that door and love him from afar was totally the right decision and valid, and it's not something to feel guilty over.
That's some great advice, to get an outside perspective,
Yeah.
because when you're in it, you don't realize what you're doing, and then
I
you
was
get it out.
embarrassed.
Yeah,
I was embarrassed to say that this was the type of dad I wanted to have, the dad that goes over and hangs up the painting, the cliche that I wanted to have, that stereotypical dad that's there for you and does the things. And so I tried so hard to manipulate my friends that he was amazing and this is this. And of course he did it on his own, because all my friends loved him because he was really good at having a cool persona, but then behind closed doors. And so once I just got real about who he really was and started just spreading that and not trying to protect him, that's when a lot of it opened up, because I was like, why am I trying to make him be this amazing person? I need to take him off the pedestal. This is
right.
who he really is. And if he's embarrassed by what I'm saying, or if he doesn't like that, then he should change his behavior.
Getting a narcissist to change their behavior.
Which is why I have boundaries.
Right.
And I'm over here.
You kind of touched on something when you mentioned the journaling. How effective and important or instrumental in your healing is the journaling?
The journaling has been huge, because while getting an outside perspective has been really healing, there are some things that I just want to keep to myself, and I realize that are really sacred and just to me that I don't want to talk about. But still, just getting them out on the paper has been such a relief, and I just got it out there, and I kind of can just now at this point I got it out. I spoke my truth. I sit in that moment, validate myself, go through whatever I need to go through, and then I close the journal, and I don't ruminate on that anymore. I don't take it with me. And so there's real power in getting your thoughts, good and bad, negative and positive, whatever, out on paper,
Do you feel like there's an aspect of automatic writing that kind of takes over, and then you get these epiphanies that you weren't even really
hmm
expecting?
Yes, yeah. A lot of my poetry, well, not poetry, some of my poetry and some of my just posts that I make are definitely from automatic writing that happen either in the middle of the night when I wake up and go into my dream journal, or after meditation. I feel so connected that sometimes they're just coming like clockwork. I can't even write fast enough. So I've kind of transitioned from automatic writing to automatic video journaling.
Nice. Are you
Yeah,
gonna
and I've read.
you got your YouTube channel, right?
And that is another, how we talked about this and you're like asking me, I've been dabbling, but now I'm ready to really fully step in, because I realize I have a lot to say, even more. And I just need something by myself to just kind of just go. And so YouTube is going to be that now. And it took me a little while to figure out how I was going to use it, but now I know.
I love it.
So it's gonna be my downloads, my downloads. So Stay Hype is my YouTube if you guys want to check it out.
Absolutely. And oh, we do have a question. Let's see. Would you label your twin as a narcissist once you started working on the trauma surrounding your dad, or maybe even before?
So yeah, I've been asked this question before, and while I want to, I definitely experience some narcissistic traits, but I want to give my twin the benefit of the doubt the same way I do me, that he may have picked up some narcissistic traits in childhood as well, just like I had, and that could be coming to a whole together. So I don't want to like diagnose him and say that he is, but definitely there were a lot of narcissistic traits for sure. That I encountered within that relationship, especially with the gaslighting. The gaslighting was a big one. A big one. Definitely warped my reality a lot in that relationship. So yeah, for sure traits, but I don't know.
Yeah, once
Yeah.
you start doing the healing, you start to see the similarities in all
Yeah.
the relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
I
we're
would say one of the things that you guys need to just kind of look out for to make sure that you're not getting into another narcissistic relationship is to just be aware of the narcissistic traits. Understand, like, when you're going after a romantic relationship or a business relationship or a friend relationship, are you people pleasing? Are you chasing validation? Do you feel like you're in a survival state of fight or flight if this person doesn't like you or does business or gets in a relationship with you? If you feel like you're in a state of fight or flight, that's probably unhealed trauma that is looking to be soothed and validated. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. If you're going into it with the intentions of like, this is the person that's going to make me happy. If I'm not with this person, if it's all the attachment to outcome and all this stuff, it is. And like for me, the love bombing in the beginning with my twin, that I definitely felt that was too soon, and this was like way too fast to be having these deep things and sending all these gifts. But I ignored my intuition, and because I was at a place of just wanting to be loved so badly that I was ignoring things that didn't feel authentic to me in order to just gain this person into my life. And then in retrospect, I look back and I'm like, that wasn't the correct way to go about it. And I should have, said,
Listen to your intuition.
yeah, I should have listened to my intuition and been like, this doesn't feel right. So yeah.
Guys, your intuition comes from the heart space. It's devoid of the ego's fear mongering. So trust your intuition, act on it, basically because it's devoid of ego and it's not going to lead you wrong.
Ever.
So we are at the hour mark. Any other questions? David, please do more twin flame videos. I mean, I don't know how many more you guys want me to do. I have a playlist of like 35, 40 twin flame videos.
I know. Maybe they need to put in the chat what specific stuff do they want to
Yeah, I
know
mean,
about it,
my
because
goodness.
that's how I found you. You've been doing it
Right?
forever.
Yeah. Oh, we got it. Okay, so this is a question. Do you visualize or transmute the energy of relationships when meditating, or do you just create safe space to love from afar and move on?
So I do a little bit of both. I create that safe space to love from afar, but if I feel inclined to really send someone that I set a boundary with love and well wishes, absolutely. This whole journey is about love. I don't want to wish any ill will or anything. I want the people in my life who are hurting to heal, and so I know I'm a healer, and so I want to send love. That would be the best case. Amazing if they were able to, heal. So always sending love and positive energy to those relationships while also loving them from afar. So
Absolutely.
doing whatever I feel called. If you feel called one day, even though this person may have hurt you and you're just like, I just want to send them love, I want to go over a good memory, do it. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Not
absolutely.
everything is negative in the relationship, or you wouldn't have gotten in it, I hope. I mean, not everything's
Right.
negative.
Unless you're a masochist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And don't forget Ho'oponopono, guys. Why don't you
Yeah.
check out my video on that? If you don't know how to spell it, I'll put it in the chat here. Oh, po, no.
Yeah.
Just search my channel on that word right there. And because Ho'oponopono, what it does is, like I say, it you're sending love, you're sending gratitude, you're sending forgiveness, and you're releasing that resentment that you're holding towards this person. And when we talk about, because one of the phrases in Ho'oponopono is I'm sorry, and that always throws people off because they're like, well, what the hell am I sorry about? This person is abusing me. You're not letting them off of the hook for their actions. You're letting yourself off of the hook for holding that resentment towards them. You're letting them off of the hook for having a hold over your life. So don't let the I'm sorry throw you off with
Yeah.
Ho'oponopono.
Yeah. And for me, I visualize my inner child when I do Ho'oponopono. I do. I visualize my inner child because obviously I know I'm forgiving my twin or my dad for said things, but I'm also forgiving myself for not showing up, for the ways that I wasn't able to protect myself, for the ways that I allowed it. And that's still that super acceptance and holding yourself accountable, that you had options and choices. We just didn't see it. And so, you know, um, so I do that for my inner child. I'm sorry please forgive me for the ways that I wasn't able to protect you in that moment when I
I love
wasn't in
that.
my consciousness.
All power starts with accountability.
Yeah.
And Ho'oponopono works for everything and anything.
I
So
love it. I love it.
do it on
I
your
love
inner
it.
child. Yeah, absolutely.
I do it all the time. I do it all the time.
All right, guys. So it looks like all the questions, and we are at the hour mark. Christin, another amazing live in the
Let's
books.
do more. You're going to be on mine next. I'm manifesting. I'm speaking it out into your eyes. You're going to be on mine next. I'm going live.
I love
You're
it.
going to
I
be on
love it.
mine, David.
So let everyone know where they can find you.
Okay. So on TikTok and YouTube, it is Stay Hype. Wait, I can't spell STAYHYPE. And then on Instagram, it's _Stay Hype. It's so funny. I go to look at I have it like my business tattooed, and I always go to look at it when I tell
Oh, that's
people. So
cool.
that's why I did that. Yeah, I have it like my little logo.
A
So
permanent
yeah,
business card.
stay hype, stay hype, and hype stands for heighten your personal experience, and that's what I help people do on this
Ooh,
earth. Yeah,
so
I got
creative.
acronyms
I
now. I got acronyms.
love
So
that.
yeah. So yeah,
Okay, so
thank you
the
for having me,
podcast
David.
is The Elephant in
Oh
the
yeah,
Room.
yeah. The podcast, Spotify, Apple, most popular. The Elephant in the Room, and then Stay Hype all across the board. Instagram has an underscore though. It's the
Okay.
only difference.
One of the things I love about her TikTok, guys, is she posts 2 or 3 times, 4 times a day. You post a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Stay
it's
active.
all on empowerment. It's all on sharing her story. It's all on giving you guys tips on how to heal and how to be more present. And it's very insightful. You want to share some of the stuff that you talk about on your TikTok?
Yeah, yeah. So I talk about like spiritual awakening signs and symptoms. I talk about just things that are happening in the ascension. I try to keep up on the collective energy because I feel really connected to the collective. So I talk about that and things you may be experiencing. I really love doing like new moon and full moon readings now and energy, and poetry. Lots of poetry that's inspiring and also relatable, and pain, happiness, all of it. I'm very, very transparent.
I've seen a
That's
lot of reparenting content on
yeah.
there as well,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. A lot of reparenting as well, and a lot of stuff with my mom because I'm healing with my mom as well. So if anybody has any mother wounds, definitely check out my series with my mom, and there may be some, insight there directly from her. And she's in her 70s, so anybody that's from that generation that has a parent from that generation, it's difficult. And yeah, maybe that can give you some insight.
I love it.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, we will do this again. And that looks like all the questions. Awesome, Christin. Oh, guys, I'm
Yay.
going to put all of Kristin's contact stuff in the description of the video as well, so you can go and check her out and give her a follow.
Thank you so much for
Sending
having
light,
me.
love, whoosh, heart chakra energy
Taking it.
going up.
I'm receiving
Whoosh,
it. I receive now. I receive now.
Now you're even more hype, right? Because that
Oh,
energy.
always. I feel great. I feel great. So, thank
Oh, it's
you.
always awesome. All right, Christin, have an awesome
All
one,
right.
and namaste.
Bye. Namaste. See ya.
Bye, guys. Everyone have a